ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Sherard Show. I'm your host, Sherard. Hope you're having a wonderful Monday evening. Today is a special episode and a very exciting episode because we have a gentleman that is a businessman, but his belongings or his beginnings started in the NBA, and now he's a philanthropist. He's also an actor, a filmmaker, and also an author. He's going to be on the Sherard Show today. We're going to be talking to him. I'm so excited Mr. Kenyon Glover is on the show. But before we get started, the Sherard Show is brought to you by Essence Television. If you want to see the best episodes of your life, just tune in to Essence Television on your Roku, and you can watch all of the episodes of the Sherard Show, from Stevie Wonder to the Manhattans to the Isley Brothers to Mel Carter. Some of the greatest individuals who've ever stopped by on the Sherard Show is right on Essence Television. It's right on your monitor, and you can see Essence Television. As well, it's brought to you by iHeartRadio, ladies and gentlemen. So if you miss the episodes of the Sherard Show, you can always watch them or hear them on iHeartRadio, or you can subscribe to our newsletter that's on your television right now. Well, this gentleman was in the NBA. He played for the Milwaukee Bucks, suffered an unfortunate knee injury, but he used that negative to do something positive and help others. He's a philanthropist. He's also an author, and he stopped by the Sherard Show to talk about what he's got going on our segment tonight entitled Having Fun While Getting the Work Done. Welcome to the show, Kenyon. How are you, sir?
Hey, I'm good, man. Thank you so much for having me on. I'm so excited about this, man. Thank you.
Really appreciate you taking a moment out of your busy schedule to be on the Sherard Show. Now, tell us a little bit about when you were in the NBA. Did you always have dreams of being a filmmaker, a fashion model, or a philanthropist, or was it always title or bust?
No, it was always NBA for me. It was always NBA or nothing. When I made it to the NBA, it was like, this is my dream. This is what I worked so hard to accomplish. And when I had that career-ending injury, it was like, okay, what am I gonna do now? I have no clue. I was lost. So I was like, okay, I have a business degree. So let me utilize this degree that I have a bachelor's degree in. So I decided to start my own business, and I just happened to stumble into filmmaking by accident. I had no interest in filmmaking, acting, the entertainment business at all. So I kind of stumbled into it by accident. So, I'm proud that I did.
Now, when you say you stumbled into it, Kenyon, how did that happen?
Well, I went to out at a acting class with a friend of mine, and I was just sitting in the back, just checking it out, just to see what it was about. And the acting coach asked me to participate because she was, I guess, short-handed that night of actors that came in. So I was like, okay, whatever, I'll participate. And when I participated, I was like, wow, this is pretty cool. She gave me the script to memorize and work on, and then I was like, okay, I think I like this. So after the class, I signed up to take the classes myself, and the more I did it, the more I fell in love with it. So I was like, I think I want to take this serious. I think I want to do this as a career. So I moved out to LA, and I started doing it full time. And the next thing you know, I was getting booked for different roles. My first major role was Young and the Restless, which I was excited about. And from there, it just took off.
So you were acting right along Shamar Moore in The Young and the Restless?
I think he had left the show when I got there. He had already left the show and went on to do other things. But yeah, I was on there for a minute.
You get started, your first big gigs on Young and the Restless. My first big gig was a pickle in the 3rd grade. Now, wait a minute, Kenyon, how is that even possible? But that's wonderful. You've taken off from there. Now, when the bug bit you and you doing major things on major soap operas on major television, where did you go from there?
I started to get booked for more and more things. I started to get booked on, I was on CSI, Criminal Minds, The Game. I was on Drop Dead Diva, Born Again Birth. I started booking a lot of different TV shows, guest starring roles. I started booking film, like leads in films. So it was like, wow, I'm starting to really, really grasp a hold of this entertainment thing and this acting thing. And I was like, you know what? I want to start producing my own content. I want to start doing my own films, because I was mostly like an action kind of guy, and the roles I was getting was more like drama mostly. And I was, I'm a martial artist, so I wanted to do like martial arts films because I've always been a fan of Jean-Claude Van Damme Michael Jai White, and Steven Seagal. So I wanted to do those kind of films. So I was like, you know what? How can I get into that genre? So someone was like, well, why not create your own film? And that's how I kind of got into filmmaking. I just started getting creative and kind of creating my own content as far as what I wanted to really, be in. So that's how I really became a filmmaker. Just started creating my own thing and doing my own thing.
Boy, it's nothing better than a good martial arts movie. If you go back to one of my favorites is Enter the Dragon. You were mentioning
Oh,
Michael Jai White,
yes,
and Flesh and Bone, and oh
yes.
man, what is that? Bone? What is that? Blood and
Um,
Bone.
yeah, Bloody Bone. Yeah,
Oh
yeah.
my goodness, man! The opening scene when he talked about you got to the count of five, and then he would,
That's my
oh
favorite.
come on, man! Don't even get me started on that. But when you say you're martial artist, so you're a black belt?
Yes, yes. I grew up. Matter of fact, when you say Enter the Dragon, I grew up watching Bruce Lee. I grew up watching and studying Bruce Lee. I mean, that's how I modeled my martial arts after Bruce Lee. So I was a big, big Bruce Lee fan, man, since what, like 5, 6 years old. So that's all I did growing up was do martial arts and play basketball. That was pretty much my lifestyle as a kid.
Well, it's funny because I'm a martial arts junkie too, and I absolutely love those films where you see, like I said, Jim Kelly. You said
Yeah.
Van Damme, Steven Seagal. I mean, every movie of Steven Seagal I watch. But I got hooked on watching Van Damme in Bloodsport in 1990.
Yeah.
So I get it. And so when that bug bit you, did you begin working on a film that was a black martial arts film?
Yeah, actually, a friend of mine had created this project. It was called Anica, Anica, and he was looking for a black martial art lead actor. And he just happened to stumble upon my social media, and he said, "Wow, I like your look, and can you do martial arts?" So I went and did the test for him, and auditioned, and he was like, "Yo, you got the part, man." So we turned that it was supposed to only been like one episode, but we gained so much popularity that it became like 4 or 5 seasons of it, like a webisode. It was just internet based, but it became so popular, and that was kind of like my entryway into my first martial arts project. And after that, I was hooked. That's all I wanted to do was martial arts projects after that. So that's how the bug hit me as far as the martial arts goes.
Wow. Now, with your career ending in NBA and then picking up so dramatically in film, did you enjoy more being an NBA player or you enjoy now being a film star?
Oh man, it's nothing can replace the love of basketball, man. That was my first love, my first passion, always will be. So yeah, I mean that's probably the most um, passion I probably will ever have was playing the game of basketball. I mean, I love acting. Don't get me wrong, I love filmmaking, but basketball was something that I fell in love with since I was 6, and I made it to the top level, and that was always my dream to accomplish that dream. So that will always be something I could take to my grave and said, you know what, I made it to the NBA. I accomplished my dream that I set out for myself when I turned 7 years old, and that'll always be like at the top of the list for me.
No, that's unbelievable. Now, we are talking to Kenyon Glover. This is an NBA player, film star, fashion model. He's been doing big things in the industry. He's just getting started. Young man, only 38 years old. Heck, I think this shirt is older than him. But he's actually had a fascinating career, and it's just the very beginning. Now, let me ask you a question because the comments are blowing up already now, and I'll get to them in a moment. They can't wait to ask you some questions, but I'm going to be one of my audience members to this question. Um, his question, which is mine as well, what was it like when you first got to the NBA? What was the thing that really, in your mind, just said, you know what, this is a reality check?
You know what? I would probably say when I got my first check.
Okay.
When I first got my check, I was like, okay, I made it. I made it. When I saw all those zeros and the commas, I was like, okay, this is the real deal. I,
Wow.
I really made this. Like I made this happen. I'm here. I've arrived. So that was probably the most exciting point of me saying, you know what? Wow, I made it. This is real. This is legit.
Mhm. Now, when you played your first game and you got into the game, who was the team you were playing the first time when you got on the floor?
When I was Chicago Bulls.
Oh, really? So they threw you right to the wolves. Or were the Bulls any good at that time?
No, that was kind of terrible in that
Oh,
time. That was kind
oh, it
of
must have been the time when Tim Floyd was a coach, huh?
yeah, exactly.
Okay, okay, I get you. All right. So you had an easy night that night. But what
Yeah.
was it like? What was it like playing with the professionals now and no longer playing with the collegiate or playing in the D League?
Wow. You know what? The game was so much faster. It was like it was like going from being like, being a boy to playing with grown men. So, like the game was so much more faster. The guys were so much more stronger, taller, more physical. So it was a quick adjustment, because I went from playing overseas to right to the NBA. And you could see the difference right away, and you have to adjust quickly. But thank goodness I played overseas first and I got a little taste of playing professional. But it's a whole different ball game when you play in the NBA and playing overseas. But I mean that's what made the adjustment easy for me. But at the same time, when you're playing against NBA players, man, they're on another level. They're on another level. So I mean, I embraced it, man. I loved it. I loved it. The greatest competition in the world. So
Wow, and the most sought after competition
yeah.
and experience. Now, was the trash talking on a whole nother level as well?
Oh man, yes, nonstop. I mean, it's nonstop talking, nonstop talking. Everybody's talking trash to each other. Everybody's so amped up and so energized, and it's like everybody's just ready to go at your throat like nonstop. Everybody's always like coming at you full force. You can't hold me. You can't stop me, man. You too little. And for me, I'm only 6'4", and now in the league, everybody's like, the point guard is like 6'8", 6'9". So I was really considered short, but I wasn't backing down from anybody. So I'm here too. I've arrived too. So you have to deal with me too. So I had to kind of get in there and kind of show them, I'm not a punk.
Wow. Now, do you have to do that every night?
Oh yeah,
Oh,
absolutely.
oh my goodness.
Yeah, yeah. It's no backing down. Every night you got to bring it, 110%, 110%. That's why it's the NBA. No
You know,
slacking.
one thing that's funny that I had to tell my audience members because they're going to probably ask this or miss this, but you're tall. You're very tall to the common person, but
Yeah,
short in the NBA world.
right.
But you're very tall if you wanted to be a football player, 6'4",
Yeah,
because basketball players are usually taller and bigger than linebackers, and linemen like LeBron James is be huge compared to a lineman. But the
yeah.
funny thing that's very interesting to me is that Gary Payton is taller than you, but he looks so tiny on the court. Is that correct?
Yeah, yeah. Well, Gary Payton is actually only 6'3". I'm actually taller than Gary.
Oh, okay, okay, okay.
Yeah, I mean about an inch, but yeah, I mean,
Mhm.
on the court, he's gonna look tiny. Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
But the funny thing about it, and we're going to transition in a moment. What was it like the first time you saw Shaq in person?
Oh my goodness. Like the biggest man I ever seen. Like, I mean, not only Shaq is tall, but he's like wide and like just big. So I was like, wow, this is a big dude right here. You know what I'm saying? And immediately, not that I was scared, but I'm like, I'm not trying to go in there and get rough with Shaq and body Shaq because he's gonna push me like I'm a little ant or something. You know what I'm saying? He was strong, man. This dude is like strong, like powerful strong. So yeah, Shaq is a big dude. Big
Now,
dude.
now, now, was he every bit of the 7-1 that they posted?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Wow. What?
Every bit of it. Yeah.
But now, the thing that's interesting, though, Kenyon, is that you appear to seem like you prepared for the post career. But there's a stat that says that 75% of the NBA players, once they leave the league, go and file bankruptcy. But you seem like you were smarter than that. Is it because of your business degree, your rearing, or you just had smart acumen?
Well, I just had smart, smart acumen. I just wasn't one of those guys that was a big spender. I wasn't real like, the kind that was flashy and trying to buy jewelry and all these houses and expensive cars. That just wasn't my style because I was raised to be very humble and be very conservative. So I just was not a flashy kind of dude. I just didn't want to go buy a Bentley and $2 million house, and it just wasn't me. So I was just very smart with my money, and I invested it and put it into different things that that could make me money on top of the money. So plus, I had a business, like you said, I had a business degree as well. So that was pretty much my mindset, just starting my own business and investing in my own business, investing in myself.
So now, Kenyon, speaking of that, now for NBA players and people who are watching the show right now, what kind of advice would you give them for those who are getting those big contracts soon to get those big contracts and feel that it's going to always be there?
Well, know that it's not going to always be there. Just to make smart investments, really, really have a very good financial team behind you that's going to help you manage your money. You have to really, really have a team that's going to help you manage your money and help you put it into investing into things that's going to bring you money back. Um, and don't be really trying to buy expensive things like expensive jewelry and houses and cars and all these things because you know after a while that stuff is going to really really depreciate. Well, I mean, before you know it, it's going to depreciate. So this is just about being smart and having smart investments and having the right team of people behind you that's not going to let you spend all your money and be just done with your money. So that's my advice. Just really really look at investing in a portfolio of different things, whether it be real estate, businesses, other different things. There's so many different things out there that you can invest in that will allow you to accumulate more and more money on top of your money.
Now, let me ask you a question, Kenyon. We're going to get to the questions in a second. Everybody calm down. We got about 50 questions. We're not going to get to them all, but we got a lot of people want to ask you questions. But let me get one in now. So Kenyon, say, for example, okay, you just come into the league. You're 21 years old. You get a rookie deal. Your first contract is, 3 years at $8 million. Okay. Mm-hmm. Now, break it down to me what that's like. Who gets what and what do you really have once it's all said and done?
Well, if you get a contract like 3 years, 8 million, you might personally pocket 2 million of that. Because you have to pay your agents. Your agent's gonna get it depends on how much percentage y'all worked out. Your agent might get 10 to 15% of that. Then you have your management that might get 10 15% of that. Then you have to pay your lawyer fees. Then other people that works and manages your money, you got to pay them their share. So a lot of that is getting taken away like immediately off the top. Over that 3 years out of 8 million. That comes out to roughly what 2.5 million a year, a little over 2.5 million a year. And out of that 2.5 million a year, you probably, like I said, only seeing probably not even a million, probably like 800,000, 900,000.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So that's why I say you really have to be very careful how you spend your money, because you're not going to really guarantee, that you're going to get all of that money, especially if you get hurt or whatever, and you may have God forbid, a career-ending injury like I did, and they immediately cut your contract off, and out of that $8 million deal, you may only get 2 or 3 million. So you just have to be very careful with those kind of contracts and spending that money.
So now a lot of ball players, or athletes, period, when they first get that deal, they go out there and buy a house, and then they go out there and buy the most expensive car. But I hear that when you get that kind of money, it's foolish to go out there and buy a brand new car. They say it's best to lease. Is that correct?
I don't really know. Like I said, I wasn't really one of those people that got expensive cars. But I know a lot of people that did, a lot of ball players that did, and a lot of them did lease their cars. They wasn't really just going out and just paying cash. A lot of them did. The ones that got the big contracts, like, if you're getting 30, 40, 50 million over 2-3 years, if you're making 20, 30 million a year, yeah, they're gonna go out and just pay cash for a car and just be done with it, without having any notes or anything. But the ones that have the little contracts was mostly, leasing their cars. Yeah, absolutely.
Wow. Now let's talk about your book. Now you are an author, an accomplished author, and you've been writing, and you've done, you do motivational speaking as well. Now tell us a little bit about your inspiration behind your book.
Well, the inspiration came because I was dealing with a lot of inner demons, man. I was going through a lot of trials and tribulations, hardships, adversities, struggles. I was dealing with major depression, having suicidal thoughts. I attempted suicide on 3 different occasions. So I was going through a constant battle of dealing with my inner demons on a pretty much an everyday basis. And it just came to a point where, I said, Kenyon, enough is enough. I can't keep dealing with this. I can't keep going through this struggle. This flesh and this, flesh and spirit is battling on the inside of the, my mind. And I just got tired of it, man. It was like, okay, either I'm just gonna surrender to God and just give God my life, or I'm just gonna just surrender to death. I had to make a decision. So I was like, I'm just going to surrender to you, God, and just allow you to take over and lead the way. So when I was writing this, well, it started out writing a journal. I was actually just writing a journal of the different things I was going through and the things that was bothering me at the time. And I just started writing out my emotions. And as I was writing out my emotions, it became more and more and more each and every day. And I didn't realize I had all of that emotion so pinned up in me. So as I'm writing, I just started writing so much. And after I was done writing, I'm like, wow. It probably was like 2 notebooks full. You know how the notebooks is like, like I think 50, 60 pages each notebook. So I had 2 notebooks full, and I was like, wow, I need to, like, this could be a book. This probably could help empower some people or impact some people in a positive way if they see my story and my journey of what I've been going through and how I dealt with what I was going through. And that's how the book came about. I just turned that journal that I wrote into a book. Of course I had to condense it, but that's how the book came about.
Now, Kenyon, my question to you now, this is, we're going to get to the questions. Give me 2 minutes. We'll ask the questions. Now, Kenyon, what triggered from a man that was in the NBA, good looking guy on the Young and Restless doing all these big things, why would anybody believe you want to commit suicide?
Well, when I had my career-ending injury, my NBA career was done, and I just got started. Like I had got to where I wanted to get to my whole life, and it was taken away from me like the snap of a dime. Snap of a finger. And my career was done, and I was like, "Are you serious? Like, Lord, you gonna do this to me after I've worked so hard to get to this point, and you just snatched my career away from me?" It was devastating for me. I couldn't deal with it. I couldn't deal with the pain and the hurt, and I felt like God betrayed me. He allowed me to get to this point to take it away from me, and I just felt betrayed by God. And I was just at the lowest point that I've ever been in. I just couldn't overcome that pain and that feeling of God betraying me and God letting me down. So
Kenyon, you preaching, man, and you preaching, brother, and I didn't even bring the collection plate. I wish you would have told me. I would have passed the collection plate because you preaching, ladies and gentlemen. This is Kenyon speaking some big stuff, powerful stuff about his career, his book, and his motivational speaking. Now, I'm an ordained minister, Kenyon. I've been in the gospel for many years, thank God. And you're touching on something that many Christians are very fearful to talk about. Everybody talks about how much they love the Lord and praise God and things like that, but nobody goes down that dark road where they feel like many times God has betrayed them or let them down. That's almost a taboo kind of conversation, but it's real. And it's not hard to feel that because oftentimes you read in your Bible and mine, many of God's men felt the same way.
Yeah.
Now, your book, The Intention, it sounds like you're just trying to save somebody from that dark place that you had gone. Is that correct?
Exactly. Everybody that reads it, they could really kind of embrace the journey that I went on and realize that even though I had my struggles and trials and tribulations, God was always there. You know what I'm saying? He was always there. I may have left him, but he never left me. And he was always in the midst of the things that I was going through and the adversities and all of that. And he was like, okay, even though you're going through this, I'm still going to get you through it because I have a bigger plan for you. And I didn't realize that he had a bigger plan for me until now. Of course, recently, when I just kind of went through it and kind of, got out of it. But I see now that was all a preparation, for me to get to this point of really walking in my purpose.
Amen. Amen. Boy, I tell you, man, this is powerful. Okay. Is it okay for we to take some questions now?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Bring them
Okay.
on.
Okay, all right, it's blowing up. I'll get to as many as I can, ladies and gentlemen. All right, so this is from Adam. This is from Adam. He's all the way in Iowa. He said, Adam says, first of all, Kenyon, you're very inspirational to me. Congratulations on your book and all the things that you're doing. So, first of all, where can he purchase your book? That's the first thing he's asking.
You can go to my website, kenyonglover.net, or it's on Amazon. Just go to Amazon and search for The Rebirth and Resurrection of a New Man by
Okay,
Kenyon.
very good. Oh, and now Adam's main question is, how did you get out of your dark place when you found yourself at your lowest?
Um, you know what? It took a lot of praying. I had to really go through a metamorphosis. I had to go through a transformation process. It says in the Bible, so you know this verse, it says, be not conformed to this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. So I had to really allow my mind to transform. And I had to trust God through the process to know that, okay, I need to trust God and be faithful in this process and know that, you know, it's not over. I'm not done. I'm not finished. There's a bigger plan for me. There's a bigger purpose for me. So it just took a lot of praying, man. I had to surround myself with people that was going to uplift me and empower me. It took a lot of discipline. Um, I just had to really change a lot of things. I had to sacrifice a lot of things. And I just had to really, come to the make a decision that, you know what, I'm tired of this. I'm tired of going through this dark place. I'm tired of being in this suicidal mode. I just got fed up with it. And when you just get fed up with something and you're just tired of something, so it forces you to kind of man up. I had to man up and say, you know what, I'm coming out of this. I'm coming out of this better than I've ever been. And that's why I had to make that decision.
Amen. Very good. Appreciate your question, Adam. This is from Tasha from South Carolina. Her question to you is, how do you keep yourself out of that dark place when the devil's trying to put you back in it? Very good question, Tasha.
Wow, you know what? It's funny that she asked that question because I still have those dark thoughts pretty much on a daily basis. But I've learned to kind of combat those dark thoughts. I immediately go into prayer. I immediately pick up the Bible, start reading. I immediately start listening to motivational videos or motivational speeches, whether it be Bishop T.D. Jakes or Creflo Dollar or Eric Thomas or Les Brown. I immediately have to switch up my mindset. I have to kind of cram my spirit with things that are going to uplift me and empower me and inspire me and motivate me. So it's like immediate. As soon as I get a thought, as soon as I have, as soon as I notice, okay, the devil's trying to sneak in, he's trying to, implement those negative thoughts and put those suicidal thoughts back in the head. So, like I said, I immediately go into prayer, immediately just, kind of get into a state of mind to say, okay, let me start listening to some positive music, uplifting music, motivational videos, start praying, start speaking to God, asking God, okay, remove these negative thoughts from me. So that's kind of how I kind of combat those kind of feelings and thoughts.
Amen. Amen. Now this is from Sean from Chicago. His question is, Kenyon, first of all, congratulations on all your success. You're an inspiration to so many. His question is, why is it speaking about suicide in the Black community is like taboo?
Say that again. What was the question?
He said, why is it when you speak about suicidal thoughts and suicide in the Black community, it's like taboo? Nobody talks about it.
I guess people want to push it under the rug because they don't really see it as important. I think because especially men, Black men, we don't want to seem like we're weak. We don't want to seem like we vulnerable or anything like that. But I tell, especially my Black men, like you need to talk about it. You have to talk about this because if you don't kind of vent and get your emotions out, it's going to get harder and harder and harder until you get to a point where you're going to be such in a dark place that you're not going to see no light at the end of the tunnel.
Mercy.
So I encourage people to you have to talk about it and don't be afraid to be vulnerable. Don't be afraid to just admit, that I'm depressed or I'm suffering, I'm going through it, and that's what people like me, I love trying to get people to open up I think I have that gift to kind of get people to open up about whatever they're going through, whatever they're faced with, the anxieties or depression or sadness or loneliness or whatever the case may be. Yeah, especially in the Black community, it's like it's frowned upon, it's looked upon as you know, they're weak or they're vulnerable or whatever the case may be. It's looked at as a negative thing when it's not. We need to just start talking about it more and making it more of a conversation instead of looking at it as a bad thing.
Amen. Very good question, Sean, and a very good answer. We'll got time for two more questions. This is from Alicia from Las Vegas. She's saying, her question to you, Kenyon, is, do you or are you not judgmental? Are you judgmental no matter what somebody tells you? Do you judge them or not?
No, I've never been a judgmental type. Never been a judgmental type. And that's the thing about when you talk about depression or you talk about being depressed or whatever, or mental health, people want to judge you immediately. Like I said, based on just being weak or not being vulnerable or whatever, people judge you immediately. And I've learned, since I was young, I've never been a judgmental type. I was taught not to be judgmental. So, and me going through what I went through is the last thing I am is judgmental because
Amen.
I know how it is. I know how it is, and I would never judge anybody.
Amen. Very good. Okay, we have time for one last question. This is from DC, in West Palm Beach. He said, "Congratulations, brother. You're so inspirational. I'm a big NBA fan." He has two questions for you. His first question is, what was the extent of your career-ending injury? Why wasn't it one you could rehab from? That was the first question.
Well, I tore my total kneecap. My whole kneecap ruptured. So during that time in 2006, they didn't have the kind of technology that they have nowadays. So my knee really couldn't be fixed all the way. It was fixed probably like 60%. So, I could not play at that level again because I just, my knee would not, allow me to. So, I ruptured my whole knee, like the kneecap, the inside, the ligaments, the muscles, the tendons, everything was gone, done.
Oh, wow. And his second part of his question is, after the COVID, what cities are you planning on traveling to encourage the youth?
Every city I can get to. every city across the United States. We're already trying to put a plan together to, go to as many cities as I can. So it's still a work in progress, but I'm trying to go to every city I possibly can and just, empower as many people as I can. So I want to empower 1 billion people this year. That's the goal.
Very good, very good. Now, I can't take any more questions. I appreciate that, but I'm willing. If you can always email me at Essence Television Network. That's Essence Television Network. It is on your monitor to if you have more questions for Kenyon, and I can pass it on to him. Or if you want to email him directly, what's your email that they can be able to reach out to you for Kenyon?
It's kglover1@hotmail.com. Or like I said, you can go to my website, kenyonglover.net. And just go to the contact page and, just fill out the contact form and I'll get right back with you.
Kenyon, you're a fascinating individual, one of the greatest interviews I've had in a long time. We really appreciate that, you being on the show. Many blessings to you. Now, my question to you directly, will you come back on the Sherard Show soon?
Come on, man. Absolutely. Absolutely. If you're going to have me, I'm definitely willing to be back on this.
Oh, my goodness, man. It has been a pleasure having this gentleman on there. So please, ladies and gentlemen, grab his book, email him. He also has a separate email for stalkers. So if you're a weirdo, he's going to give you an email for that. But if you're about business, just look at your monitor. And on tomorrow's episode of the show, we will have Mr. Master P stopping by the show to talk about his business and all the big things he has coming up. In the meantime, I'm Sherard. Enjoy the rest of your evening. Thank you, Mr. Glover, for being on the show. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye now.
Thank you for joining us on this episode of The Sherard Show. If you'd like additional information about our episodes, you can log on to thesheradshow.com. You can also check us out on social media, like us on Facebook, look at our YouTube video, subscribe to our newsletter at essencetelevision.networks@gmail.com. If you would like to get information to the host, Sherard, you can email him at thesheradshow.com. Once again, thank you for joining us, and we'll see you next week.